podcast of veterans talking about world events, what's going on across the country, protests, policy, education, and a myriad of different things. On Saturday nights, we try to keep it light, where we just discuss what happened in the week, any big actions, and just talk about stuff. So tonight, for this hour, it is going to be from 9 to 10. We're going to go over some quick things. And the first segment we have named Fire for Effect, which is a military term. And I am going to let Carl lead it.
Yeah, so moving forward, this segment, formerly known as Hate Mail, is called Fire for Effect. And the whole point of Fire for Effect is to give us a chance to talk to you, the viewers. So if there is ever a time where you want to call in, this is now the time when the opportunity for you to do it. We'll make sure that the Riverside link where you can call in is available to you freely. In addition to that, if you leave comments and you want us to talk about them, this is also the time for you to do that. So your comments will get flagged, we'll see them. And then if we decide that we want to show them on the show and talk about them, then we will, as we are about to do now. So this is a remnant of hate mail, which means that the first few things that we're going to cover is hate mail, which is great. I'll start this one off, I guess, by a man named Troy Davis 9988. And this was posted last week on an older episode, not an older episode, but an older short. And it is the one from Logan, I believe. Um, and Travis says, just by this, just by his sophisticated vocabulary, you know he's a lefty, non-working, met addicted mama boy.
You wound me, sir. You wound me.
I know my soul is so hurt by a non-working meth addict mama boy. Oh, God.
It's insane that these people have to do this. I mean, and then we take a look at
Meth and math
The
is only
flow.
one letter apart.
The flow. I mean, hey, he knows a thing or two because he's done a thing or two.
I'll give it to him. He's got more hair than me, so there's that.
It's
At
fake.
least mine is still got color to it, but he's got more hair than me.
It's really
All right.
weird when like grown ass men do the duck face.
For sure.
So who's he shitting on here in particular?
He is shitting on Logan.
Oh,
This is the Logan, the episode where Logan was calling out the MAGA cucks because they support Trump and they don't support the troops.
I mean Logan's a smart dude, and he's clever, but he's like a fuck you, eat shit and die guy. Like he talks like a dude you'd meet on a dock. How is this like just by his sophisticated vocabulary? Like what is this guy reading? Dr. Seuss? Like
Probably not because Dr. Seuss has alliteration and like actual flow to it. This motherfucker's on like C spot run,
you know,
right?
this is actually important though, because a lot of these MAGA guys, they just hate people who are smarter than them. Have you ever picked up on that vibe?
Yeah, yeah. Their masculinity is insecure, thus
Yeah,
toxic
yeah,
masculinity,
right.
right? Like that is their fundamental problem in life.
I contend that Republican men are the most submissive men on the planet. Like, okay, hear me out.
I'm a Republican man. I will punch other men and sometimes women in
Okay,
the hoo ha if required.
okay. So I won't go. I'll go deeper. Then I will. I will say MAGA men.
Okay, MAGA.
Specifically,
Thank you.
MAGA men are the most submissive people on the planet because they follow like men. Like the entire MAGA movement is led by men telling other men who think they're masculine of like what to think, like where to like it is they're very submissive.
Yeah, like it's like the kind of guys who are like into like pickup artists, like Andrew Tate, and who think they're hot shit. And
Yes.
It's insane. All right, next one. So same short. It was still Logan short talking about, or this was a different short from Logan talking about the cuts to the VA healthcare system. And of course, Mr. Naughty says fake news. Another liberal freak making up BS.
He got us. I mean,
Well, you got the freak
to a
part
T,
right.
like, there's no defense against this argument.
no, it's time to call it in. I'm calling in George. I'm calling George Soros, and I'm returning my protest checks. So
This is okay. So here is what. Oh my God, I don't want to go on a rant, but I might about veterans thinking that benefits are not being cut. Okay, like as someone that has been in the space for years, there are veterans out here that are making sure your benefits are not fucking being cut. That's why they aren't being cut, because I spent hours reading congress.gov looking for policy and being like, oh man, they're gonna try and do this. And then we all rally around it. So it doesn't fucking affect you. That's the whole point of veterans rallying around veterans, so that people don't lose their benefits. If you haven't lost anything, it's called fucking privilege. You're welcome. You're welcome. Because people like Logan that you're like fucking doing this stupid shit on and saying we're making it up, we are fucking spending hours a day coalescing with other veterans around the country that actually fucking care about veterans. So go fuck yourself. Sorry, I am so over that argument that we haven't lost anything when veterans are killing themselves on VA fucking property. And you're saying benefits aren't getting cut? Well, like housing benefits are being cut. We have homeless veterans. We have people killing themselves on VA fucking property. We have veterans that can't feed themselves. God damn it. That's the one thing that I am over it with veterans that think you haven't lost anything. You're about to. You're about to, because you keep voting against your own best interest. You keep doing it, and then you keep having people like on this panel being like, what is going on? Why do we keep doing this? Why have I been advocating for a decade? Because I'm fighting other people, like say it's fake news, because you spread this bullshit. Our benefits are on the line. Our housing benefits, our education benefits, our mental health is on the line. People are killing themselves, and you're out here saying it's fake fucking news? Google it. 14 of us killed ourselves last year on VA property. The last time this happened, we got community fucking care. This time we have you assholes calling it fucking fake news. Wake the fuck up. Sorry. Over it.
No, well said. I agree 100%. 100%. I don't think there's anything that can be added to that.
I got just one comment.
Oh, Brian does.
Yeah, when my brother tells me, oh yeah, well Trump's not a king. What you guys are doing is dumb. I'd be like, yeah, we still live in a free country because of us. You're welcome. Like, flex on these people because, like as Katie was saying earlier, like they're weak, they're submissive, they're sad, like they're lashing out at things that are better than them because they, whatever, their life sucks and they hate everybody else. Like that's all this is. There's nothing to it. There's nothing under it. Like, just translate all those words to, like, I have a shitty life and I hate you because you have a slightly better life for whatever reason, or I think you do. Like, that's all it is. It just
Katie, I
bitterness.
think you came up with a word for this, didn't you? What was it? Cunch?
Cunch.
I'm going to make this, it's going to be a thing. It's going to be like fetch, right? Like,
Yeah.
be like, fetch is not a thing. Cunch.
I mean, Chud kind of like came out of the movement, right? Like that's the word we started using to kind of spread, and like now everyone's using it. They just use the word Chud, which I really love because it's so direct and you can't argue with a slur. So I'm all for it.
All right, and the last one is less of a comment and more of a, I guess, an opportunity to roast the White House. So we'll see. This was posted by the White House a while back after Donald Trump had the great idea to rename, or actually this week, after Donald Trump had a great idea in the middle of the night to rename ICE agents to NICE agents because it would be a way to take the wind out of our sails. Because how could we protest NICE agents?
I think that's idiotic because I would totally protest NICE agents. In fact, it makes it easier to protest them, right? This would be so much easier because then you just turn them into a joke, and you know, please do this.
I love how, in order to make this happen, he puts the word national, right? And it's the through line in their nationalism and their white nationalism and their Christian nationalism, and everything just goes back to their one specific little group, their one little thing.
If they were nice agents, you wouldn't be sending a 4-year-old to what looks like Auschwitz in the background.
Yeah, that picture is pretty interesting. Interesting choice. Like, well, it's not like a sun with a rainbow. It's a concentration camp with like guard towers.
I didn't even notice that until it was brought up. Also,
You're welcome.
another example of what AI art looks like in today's day and age.
I just
Wow.
like this bothers me so much because I don't know if y'all remember when I put together the video about ICE agents that's on our social media. And there's a video out there. I have no recollection of where this was, but I'm sure you can Google it. Where there was there's parents inside of a house, and there are ICE agents outside of the house with a small child, probably about this size, and they are using the child as a bargaining tool. Where they like Carl's shaking his head, yes. That is one of the most abhorrent videos I have seen.
Autistic kid.
Oh, I didn't even. Oh, yeah, I do remember hearing that she was autistic. Ugh.
There was also another one in New Jersey that was very similar.
One last note on this one. Defending our country. He's got like a small child, clearly at the border. What are you, a grown ass man with a gun, defending the country against in this picture? Right? And then like you look at the flag in the background and it's clearly behind the watchtower. So you have like this huge like garrison flag proclaiming like, oh, this is American land. And we're like, what, Borat? You can't get this. You can't get this. I mean, it's gross. It's gross. Like this is not what the official government anything should be posting.
I mean, this goes to like the whole like everything's a distraction from everything else theory of the world. Like these guys are just throwing up slop, hoping to suck up our attention, and they're overwhelm us with nonsense. So honestly, like this is one I don't want to fight. I kind of even want to make it easy for them. So yeah, name them nice agents. Go ahead. Like it's so dumb. If it really happened, I think that he would actually lose some votes over that because people would be like, "What the fuck are you doing? Why don't you protect the borders? Why are you doing this performative nonsense?" Right? Like, I don't think it would help him at all. Right?
Yep. Well, that's all I got for Fire for Effect, folks. I'll do better next time.
All right.
I will get reactions out of everyone.
So the next segment, we're going to do field reports only when they apply. Field reports for this week are going to go over May Day actions. So there was a national call to action yesterday, May 1st, for May Day, uplifting the labor movement and workers' rights across the country. So I will go first. I live in Jacksonville, Florida. We had 3 separate actions here because Jacksonville is massive, and there's other reasons, but there's 3 actions here. There was one in the town center, the Jacksonville Town Center, that was put together by the Indivisibles. There's 7 Indivisibles here in the city. It was quite well populated, right, for like a Friday at 10 a.m. And then I went down to the noon one downtown. It was put on by Florida Rising, and they did a more direct action type of, it's around the federal courthouse, or the Duval County Courthouse, and they had people honking by, like driving by honking to disrupt court proceedings, because Florida Rising, their campaign is on housing rights, on people being evicted, on rent being too high, and their campaign they're working on right now is a landlord registry here in Duval County. So that was their call to action. And then the last one I went to was at 6 p.m. Eastern. It was put together by the labor movement here, and the unions, and there it was well attended. It was down at the courthouse. Weather was kind of weird. Thought it was going to storm. But yeah, good time, no incidents, no counter protesters for the first time. So I know Christopher watches this every once in a while. I miss my counter protester, my guy, Christopher, come back. Come back with your Charlie Kirk sign. I miss you. You come to every action. Why'd you give up on me? Come back. That's all I got from Jacksonville though.
I guess moving up north to South Carolina, North South Carolina. So here in Columbia, I think it was really PSL that kind of organized some of the labor groups and kind of put everything together. 5051 SC, in our capacity, kind of supported them on that. We've known the organizers for a while. Gathered at the State House. They did a little bit of speaking. We did kind of a push, a route, or march down to a new ICE headquarters that has popped up in Columbia, and we stopped outside of that for a minute, and they kind of agitated and spoke. We had a couple students from SC State that are kind of dealing with the whole drama involving the lieutenant governor, right? So there was some press coverage for them. So I mean, it was a good chance to support labor movement, address worker rights, go after ICE. Like it felt good. It was a decently attended. We also had actions up in Greenville, and I know Charleston, and probably a couple other places. But I was parked here in Columbia. That's what we have on our end.
I think next up was here in North Carolina. Our Raleigh May Day event was spearheaded by the North Carolina Association of Educators. We had roughly 20,000 folks come out. I believe there were 17 public school districts that closed completely because of the event. We had probably a 3-block long march. And then there are photos of a sea of red around the General Assembly building.
6-block march, because it technically went one way, took a right, and then came back 3 blocks the same way it just came from on a different road.
Yeah, it was a very large event, and then the Durham event, which we did not go to, that was led more so by the labor movement and the PSL organization out there.
Brian, you're up.
Okay. Yep, I didn't know if you had anything. I'm pretty sure I was the farthest north human. So so I'm in the Boston area.
Hold on.
Carl, you don't get to skip out on your shit.
Oh, do you think, Carl?
Oh well, that was today. That wasn't the May Day thing. So I figured we could.
All right, cool. All right,
Yeah,
all right, all
yeah.
right,
Friday was my real versary. So that was.
all
I
right.
didn't go out and do anything.
Got it.
Because
Got
you're
it.
not getting out of it.
Yeah, so I didn't do anything terribly excited. I went to one particular protest, a very small protest in front of Hanscom Air Force Base. One in particular is interesting because this is where we know that the ice flights are coming out of. And it's most of the ice flights actually in the region. So we got like people, like we know that like Maine and Vermont, New Hampshire, like they're coming in a lot of the times through Hanscom Air Force Base because it's an Air Force base. They got the security, so all the rabble rousers who don't like what they're doing can't harangue them. And so they set up around the Rotary. And so what they did fundamentally was they just did a picnic right in front of the Rotary, which was right in front of the base. So like the guard towers are right there, and we're just hanging out having a picnic, which was pretty cool. And I went mostly just because there's a lot of leaders that in the area that I'm personally interested in because of my organizing work, and it's an opportunity to meet them kind of all at once, and it gets a lot of work done for me. So like for me, like for outreach, when you're doing movement outreach, it's actually very important you find like informal events where you can talk to people and have informal conversations because that's where like new ideas are kind of created. And so that's what we did. I can't get into too much detail about what's going on there because like OPSEC, but it's very very cool what they're doing up there. So
Awesome. So I guess it's my turn now, right? My my fun time. So my husband and I went down and we joined Hannah and Rory in Fayetteville for the Southeast Convergence. And Hannah, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but the Southeast Convergence was just a neat little moniker to describe a container that is a number of groups that operate within the southeast of the United States. And essentially, the whole idea is that we get together in order to talk amongst one another about how we're organizing, how to better organize, share ideas, share topics, and understand the issues as we move forward. Now, I'll say the first speaker for me was, I mean, fantastic. She claimed to be nervous, but and she also claimed to be sweating, but did not show any signs of either of those instances. She owned the stage and talked about the importance of organizing and how to organize effectively, and even provided like a cycle of how the organizing process works, which I found enlightening because my recruiter brain turned on and I was like, oh, all of these things make sense because I did that as a recruiter. But we took a break, went into the second session. In the second session, my understanding was that we were going to be discussing the negative aspects of militarization. And so I went into it thinking we're going to be talking about the unconstitutional war, and we were going to talk about the militarization of our law enforcement and how they're getting military equipment from the DHS and yada yada yada. Sat down and immediately got confronted with a presenter who, in my opinion, had a presentation that was very anti-military, not anti-militarization, but anti-military, to the point where it almost felt like it was an outright attempt to demonize the military and the things that the military is doing, calling out, and justifiably so, right? Like the fact that she called out the military industrial complex's destruction of natural areas in order to get at the resources that they need. The discussion of the use of depleted uranium in our munitions, the discussion about mines and cluster bombs, which the United States just started using them again, but we had put a kibosh on that because they were so terrible. And mind you, she comes from a background of Lebanese descent, so her connection to that is from the front lines of someone who has lived through getting bombed, right? So she definitely had that visceral connection there. But I did raise my hand and I explained to her that her discussion about the military is as a negative force in the world, is inaccurate and in my opinion offensive. And I said that because of the fact that the military does a lot more than just bombing people. When a hurricane happens, the military is the first one on the scene. No matter where in the world a natural disaster occurs, the military is out there ready to go to provide humanitarian assistance. Right now, we don't always get it right. We don't always do things the appropriate way, but that's what we do, right? Like the fumbled evacuation of Afghanistan. Um, we did a lot, even though it was an absolute mess and chaos. We brought a lot of people out of there. We didn't get everyone, but we got a lot of people out of there. And we brought them to Italy and then started getting them to places where they would be safe. I mean, the military is good at this. And so I explained that to her. And we went back and forth. And she finally asked me, what is it that I would want? And I told her that what I want is a leaner, meaner, more capable, more agile military force that operates on a fraction of the budget that it currently has. We don't need a standing army to go in and invade and hold ground. What we need is a military that can go out, strike, and then come home, because we need that ability just in case someone gets froggy. But what we really should do is lead with soft power. So when the Trump administration came in and gutted USAID, they gutted our soft power. And because they gutted our soft power, we lost the ability to influence nations the globe around, right? So I told her that I felt that we needed to have both. They go hand in hand, right? We lead with soft power, and if we need to, we thump people on the heads with the big stick. Like that's kind of how it should work. And she pushed me on it. She kept pushing. I'm going to push you on this. What do you mean by soft power? Why would you want soft power? And I said, because it helps create peace. Well, how do you think it creates peace? Because it gives people the option to not engage in conflict, because there are better ways of solving problems than through conflict. And she kind of let it go from there. But here's my point, right? The thing about that is that she and I were diametrically opposed on our viewpoints. And was I shaking? Absolutely. Was I heated? Oh, you bet your ass I was. But I was able to remain calm enough to have a conversation. And no matter if we found common ground or not, at least we understood where the two of us come from, so that future conversations may result in that common ground, which is why it's so important in the organizing spaces, and especially in the space that we are in, where we are actively opposing this administration, that we recognize and understand that people don't have to have the same views as us, as long as we have the same end state, which is the elimination of fascism from our country. That's all I got.
Yeah.
Viva Revolution.
I was gonna say today was definitely a learning experience. The first organization that gave the presentation that Carl was talking about was Down Home, North Carolina. They are a great organization. They work with Sambra here in North Carolina to do some of the ICE rapid response and ICE watch trainings. So they are a really good organization here in North Carolina. And it was really, the first part of the day was talking about base building and how to grow our communities versus, the mobilization versus organizing. And it was a really good connection. And while there was definitely tension in the second session that could be cut with a spoon, I think at the end of the day, we all kind of agreed that two things can be true at once. Militarization can be bad, and yet the military isn't bad. And there were some folks in the room who struggled to grasp that, but I think in the long run, the more we have these conversations, especially in person and here and across the aisle, having these conversations is helpful, because I know that I walked away from today with more coalition partners than I walked in with. So it was definitely a really good connection. And it was essentially just a mini half-day session of a conference. And there were quite a few number of BIPOC organizations represented.
I think Carl, it's one of the issues I've seen probably over the last 10 years is there's a specific, how do I want to word this? There's a specific outlook on veterans sometimes in organizing spaces that is just not true. And then you like go to, like you heard today, it was like very anti-military, right? Of like we go to places and we commit atrocities and we're horrible people and well, yeah, I've heard it for a long time. But then what I like Hannah's right on the money about like meeting people and stuff because when I talked to a local group, like literally a local group, did not know that veterans are speaking out against the genocide in Gaza. They like had happened to see like one of the short with me saying like, no, there's veterans that like aren't here for genocide, and so I think that there's this common misconception, given what we did, right, for the government. Like most of us are combat vets that are out here organizing, right? And there is this, I don't know if it's a mistrust or distrust between them and us, or it's just a misunderstanding of like there are plenty of veterans that are not okay with what they did overseas. I watched a video the other day and I was like, I sobbed. And it was like Iraq veterans throwing their medals, you know, begging for forgiveness. And it's like there are veterans that feel very deeply conflicted about the time that they spent in Iraq and Afghanistan, and then seeing what's happening today and trying to speak out against that while also being in a space with people who have already been speaking out against American imperialism and genocide. And, you know, so it is this, I think there's an educational piece that needs to happen, like, and Hannah said that, of our community, organizing communities, and like just the community at large of like who we are and our true beliefs. Like we're not in uniform anymore, we're not active duty, we're human beings with emotions. I don't have emotions, I'm working on them in therapy, but yeah.
So I think one of the things that I point out, and whenever I'm kind of talking to people that are a little bit more on the skeptical side, is like, you know, being a veteran is a tool, or joining the military is a tool of social mobility, right? And so like there's some questionable things that happen, but at the same time, it really does set you up in America to access at least a working class to a middle class lifestyle afterwards, if you can actually leverage some of those skills and you're not completely, you know, screwed up from it. I mean, it certainly has afforded me to be where I'm at today. So there's bad in every system, and so what can we do to keep it from being as bad as we can? You know, because I mean, like what? Like a lot of these kids, if they would have stayed back in the streets and the neighborhoods that they would have been on, would chaos have been caused? You know, like if some people don't get that chance to break from that experience and get out and be somewhere else and learn the discipline and you know way to be cohesive in the what broader society looks like, you know, what is there's I think there's a cost to that too. There's an opportunity cost with not joining in that capacity. So it's a complex thing, and I get people that are against it. But I think that's just the reality, is we live in a complex world, and we engage with people that now I'm talking like braver angels, right? When you have people that are very much polarized on a topic, you just try to get them to engage with the nuance. and just understand like it's not all bad. You really got to take it on a case by case basis. It's tedious. It's very tedious, but you know, it's what we need to do to just be decent, respectful people. Is not just go ahead and blanket call like, oh, you're all baby killers. You know. So I get it. It's hard.
Yeah, and I mean that's why I brought the tone down, right? Like the first part of the engagement was very aggressive, and I definitely used my my gunny voice a little bit. But you know, the second part, I kind of came out. I was like, hey, listen, I was aggressive on the first. I'm going to apologize for that, but let's really talk about this. And I was able to kind of develop that conversation a little bit more. Um, the one part that was aggravating to me is that I conceded to the whole, you know, the military is too big and we need to drop the budget, like, and that wasn't necessarily a concession because I believe it, but she wouldn't take that, right? It was all or nothing, right? Like I was either yep on board or nope, I didn't agree with her at all. So it was a fun and interesting conversation to have because I knew getting into this environment that I was going to encounter people that I did not align with entirely, and so encountering that in person was it was an eye opener and a reminder that we don't all get along, we don't all share the same ideas on how to move forward, but we do know that we need to move forward. So that's the important part.
Yeah, so I just had two quick observations about that, especially the Gaza thing. I don't think a lot of people, even in activist spaces, realize how large the anti-Israel swing vote is. So these are folk who basically supported Israel over in kind of like the, you know, the center left, center right, two-state solution camp for decades, right? Who are now like, well, fuck Israel, right? Like it's just because they've burned all of that goodwill, right, in the span of a couple months. And now everybody's kind of reevaluating their positions. So I don't know if any of those folk are watching this, like any of the people who are in like the kind of hard anti-war camp, but like this is actually an opportunity to do some outreach, right? Because people are thinking about this issue and they're really reflecting on it in a way that you don't see very often. You know, I was a hard Israel supporter up until 2025, 2020. When did the war start? 2020. Started fading maybe around 24, like 23. I supported going after Hamas. I do believe Hamas is a terrorist organization and should be destroyed. I still think that. But there's a way in which you do it, which has to be ethical and has to be restrained and has to be focused on the actual targets. And they're not doing that here. And Netanyahu has made it clear that he wants to drive these people into the sea. And that to me is obviously a genocide. The intent is there. They got the equipment to do it, and no one's stopping them. That's just calling a spade, right? It's not about your allegiance to anything. Like I don't have allegiance to a country. I have allegiance other than my own. I have an allegiance to ideals. Like what are the ideals you're espousing? If you are conducting warfare in as ethical a fashion as possible, then I have respect for what you're doing at some level. If you are not doing that, then no, you're one of the bad guys, and we shouldn't give you anything. And Israel's acting that way, so they shouldn't get shit from us. You know?
I want to challenge you on something. Um, so I've done an immense amount of research into Hamas and Hezbollah. And Hezbollah was created after a very specific massacre in Lebanon where the women were raped in front of their families and children were massacred. And so Hezbollah was created as a protecting force against the Israelis. And it wasn't even the Israelis that committed the atrocity. It was actually the Lebanese committed the atrocity against their own. And then Hezbollah, the Israelis let it happen. They watched it happen for 3 nights specifically. And then Hezbollah came out of this. Okay, that's number 1. Number 2, Hamas. Here's my challenge about Hamas. I want you to think in this manner, right? Because I really, for years was like, Hamas is a terrorist organization, fuck those people. And then I had to think about it when I started to like kind of think of Israeli like policy, and us sitting here talking about a genocide happening, and the fact is that it's been happening for a very long time. Everybody likes to say very publicly that, well, these people voted in Hamas. Nobody alive took part in the vote. Nobody. The last vote there was an entire different population. And so then on top of it, if you see generation after generation after generation of your people killed, you don't think you're going to fight back? You don't think that you're going to organize collectively to fight back? I think as Americans, we sometimes like don't think that way because we've always been the purveyor of the violence. But if you think we have all watched, every single one of us have watched a genocide happen. It's the first time in history that we have a documented genocide that the entire world watched and went, is it though? Is it? Is it? And then afterwards, the one group, which I will give you, Brian, 100%, there were reports from the Israelis that Hamas started killing people as soon as they went back into Gaza. I mean, like, but that's from the Israelis, right?
Sure.
I don't want to sit here and like promote a terrorist organization. I'm not like, because I'm not exactly sure what their purview is. But I do know from a human standpoint, if somebody was in America that came in originally, I welcomed you to my land after World War II. I welcomed you. And then you committed the Nakba and you killed and slaughtered people, and then ever since then you have taken more and more and more lands and killed and killed and killed and then blamed us. I'm not sure I'm willing to be like, they're horrible. Like, no,
Yeah.
I think that they were created out of a necessity of a force that was, that's just my purview.
Yeah, I mean, this might be more we can get into given time. It's
feel
just
like-
for me, it was like October 7th, like the savagery of October 7th, kind of like really clarified the stakes for me. Because I'm like, but at the same time, when you look at the whole span of the history, there is nothing but tragedy after tragedy after tragedy after tragedy in that part of the world, and that builds up scar tissue. But at the end of the day, the only thing you can really judge is behavior going forward. Like what did they do like most recently? Like that's got to be because you can't. That's where you have to anchor it, because you're looking at like who are the people who are actually in charge, who are doing the thing, and are they trying to at least make this situation better? You know, you have had Israeli prime ministers who have tried to make things better. They failed, but you have had it. You don't see that on the Palestinian side right now. It doesn't mean you can't have it in the future. You know, but you're going to need leaders on both sides who actually give a shit about trying to make this to work and actually put political capital on the line. And we just haven't had that thing yet. And the longer this goes on, the worse it's going to get. I don't think there's a solution to that part of the world. I think this ends in blood. Anything, like you'd have to go in there with like armies and just occupy the entire area and just force them to be separated until there's enough time for peace for things to heal, for this to work. In my view, I don't see a solution. And it's sad.
Yeah, it is sad. I think that I have said this multiple times to multiple people. I don't think anybody on this side of the world has a good enough understanding of the history there to actually make good arguments for or against of what we should do there. But all right, with that in mind, we are going to roll into action items. And so for everybody watching, tomorrow is a Veterans Against Fascism meeting. It is at 5 p.m. You can find the link on our social media. You can find it on Veterans Against Fascism social media. You can find it on Veterans About Faces social media. Just look for that link. We have a next national date that was announced today. It is June 27th. That is the next National 50-51 Day. And I know in Jacksonville, we are going to do something around redistricting and the Kelly decision. That is my action items. Do other people have action items? Sam, you don't have anything for your campaign?
Oh, I mean, I feel like here I feel more capacity as 50-51 SC. We have the same date as y'all. Campaign wise, like I'm just in District 2. I'm gonna go to at least another speaking event. I'm dying for money, but I'm not about to ask people for it on here. Um,
Motherfucker, solicit money. Like you're a vet. Like I don't
yeah,
care.
I
This is
mean,
you're here.
I hate asking for money.
Give
Uh,
Sam money for his campaign to beat the fuck out of a fascist.
listen. I put out a video to be completely real. Like we've had 4 donations in total. The incumbent has, man, Joe Wilson's got like $470,000, a $200,000 loan, and a bulk of his money is actually from like out of state, right? Like if you go into like what he's got maybe $14,000 that's like too small for it to actually be like individually listed on the FEC. But if you go into like the individual contributions that range from like $250 on up to 3,500, most of that money is coming from out of state. There's like 20 people that are from SC in that. I mean, like it's the reality of it. And honestly, I think that a lot of campaigns are probably hurting for funding right now, just because there's so much uncertainty. And so to be a grassroots campaign in a period of economic uncertainty is an uphill battle, but it's one that I think that we have to engage with, because helping fund a campaign to overturn an incumbent that is perpetuating all this stuff is so much cheaper than economic collapse. I don't want to be sensational about it, but it's the reason that we organize, because we look at economic collapse or societal collapse that comes with the fascism that we're standing against. It's like, oh, I just need $25. Help me fight. So, I'm gonna throw the link in there. But it's not something that I ask for easily.
I do want to make a point about that as a like call to action. I know we are a nonpartisan group here, so I kind of want to say that like we are a nonpartisan group, but I do implore people, please do your research into Alexander Vindman. I live in the state of Florida. I personally know Angie Nixon. Please look into Alexander Vindman and his stance on Gaza and genocide. That's all I'm asking. I'm not advocating for anything else, but please do your research before you give money to people without looking at their stances on very important issues across the spectrum. And as veterans, I know it sounds great that veterans who are whistleblowers are now running for Senate. Please make sure that that human being aligns with your personal values. So, with that being said, I am going to roll into the safety. Well, Hannah, do you have anything from Common Defense or Lindsay, like doing any classes, right to refuse, anything like that that you need to announce?
Not that I am aware of right now. I don't think she has any of the right to refuse training set up just yet, but I do know that she has been talking about it.
Okay. I do want to read a few announcements from our chat, just for some things. We did go over the Veterans Against Fascism meeting, But I do want to say that there is an action, Protect the South, what this moment means for communities, Monday, May 4th in Memphis. Please look on Mobilize for further details on that. And then one of our partners, Heidi from Common Defense, out in Colorado, is it? I don't want to mess it up.
It's in Colorado. I was gonna say it's in Colorado, but I don't have a time right now.
Okay, I'm looking for the announcement, I can't find it, but please look up Common Defense in Colorado. They do have an action coming up if you want to get involved with that. And Carl, you all right? Okay. All right, so we're gonna roll into our safety brief for this show. And so, yeah, it's time for the safety brief, also known as the military tradition of reminding grown adults not to ruin their own lives. Some of you are leaders and some of you are veterans. Some of you have combat experience, yet statistically, the greatest threat is ourselves. So we all begin with confidence and somebody always ends in saying, in my defense. So we're going to try and stop that. We always start out the same way. Do not beat your spouse, your child, or your pet. Eat an actual meal. Gas station meals, snacks, nicotine, and caffeine are not nutrition. Drink, I know everybody's looking at me because yesterday I ate one gas station hot dog all day. But I was on the move. Drink water like you mean it. Half your mood is dehydration. Get some sleep. Nothing good happens after 2 a.m. Except marrying strippers and having to explain that to other human beings. If you've been running hard for weeks, rest is not weakness. It's actually part of your maintenance and resistance. Rest and recovery matter. Take all of your meds, all of them. Check on your friends, especially the ones that say that everything is fine way too fast, right? If your mind is getting dark, please reach out to us. Reach out to a battle buddy, reach out to a family member, reach out to somebody, right? Isolation is where those problems multiply. So call somebody, get out, show up somewhere, look for an action, go have a coffee. If you're struggling, ask for help. It's not weakness, it's grown-ass behavior to ask others for help, and nobody fights this alone. Do self-care checks, right? Breast cancer doesn't care how busy you are. Our vice president is currently fighting breast cancer. So please do your self checks, it does matter. Maintain accountability of all your human beings and actions. Carl? If one disappears, look everywhere. They will probably appear with another human being. Put your dog on a leash. Your friendly baby may be friendly to you, but not to others. It will kill other people's pets. It happened to somebody on our board and on this call. Do not buy wild animals on the black market just to prove policy points and then have to donate them to zoos. You win the argument, but you lose the game.
That also happened to someone on this call.
That is very true. Do not fight wildlife, especially geese. Geese have tenure and they'll win. Scooters are transportation. But they're not cavalry mounts, right? So, and on top of it, remember that as veterans, we're all old these days, right? So we're not as agile as we used to be. If you accidentally get invited onto the White House lawn while dressed like the political opposition, just roll with it. If you accidentally enter a citywide Emancipation Day celebration as white human beings, also just roll with it. Do not interrupt barter systems involving coffee grounds, marijuana plants, watermelon plants, crystals, or loose shrimp. If you find a plant on the sidewalk and immediately claim it, that is raccoon behavior. Emotional support potatoes are authorized and should be carried with dignity. If someone offers you a great deal out of a backpack, no, they didn't. If you ever are detained, remain calm and respectful. If anyone gets handcuffed to mobility equipment again, we are officially in satire. Just as an alert, Florida schools may resemble prison compounds, but North Carolina schools may appear like they are defended by vibes and community trust only. This is normal. Do not be concerned. And do not spend time debating fence infrastructure while operating a motor vehicle. It's dependent upon the state you live in, apparently. And so, to close this out, make good decisions. If unavailable, make survivable ones. If neither is possible, make legendary decisions with plausible deniability. Check on your people, drink water, eat something green, leash your animals, schedule your appointments. If you disappear, charge your phone. And if you acquire another plant, at least water it. That's all I got. And we hope to see you next time on Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern, right here on the Smoke Pit. We'll be talking about another topics with veterans, among veterans, just reaching out. So, have a good night.